today we are doing another Korean lesson with the level 2 workbook today, and today is a very useful one. We are going to be practicing how to make adjectives in Korean. So we're going to be right here, adjective, ni은, 은, 는, and noun. 안녕, hello, 안녕하세요. So we're going to be learning about adjectives on page 51. So in Korean, there's kind of a major difference between English and Korean in that in English, we think of there being three types of words, right? There's nouns, verbs, and adjectives. And Korean is a little bit different in that there really is only nouns and verbs. But within verbs, you have two types. You have what's called 동사, which is active verbs. That's things like to eat, to sleep, to listen, to drink, things like that, to study, to learn. Those are 동사, active verbs. And there is also 형용사. I might have spelled that wrong, I'm not sure. This is descriptive verbs. So there's these two types of verbs, and if you want to describe a noun with an adjective, for example, the red ball or the delicious meal, the sweet coffee, you need to take a 형용사, a descriptive verb, and turn it into an adjective by adding either ni은, 은, 는 to the stem of the 형용사, the adjective. And this allows you to place it before a noun to describe the noun. So there's two ways to describe nouns in Korean. You can say something like the delicious meal, that requires this conjugation, or you can say the meal is delicious. And that either one just uses the same descriptive verb, 맛있다, to be delicious, and just conjugating it differently. So we're going to see this more throughout this exercise. But essentially, you take a 형용사, and if the 형용사 ends on a vowel sound, you attach ni은. If it ends on a consonant, you add 은. And if it ends on 있다 or 없다, you attach 는. So let's have a go. The first one, so we're going to make some sentences using these two verbs. Using the descriptive verb provided and the 는 grammar form, write a complete sentence. Conjugate the overall sentence using the noun 예요 grammar form. This is the it is to be form that we learned in level 1. So here we have this verb 맛있다, which means delicious. Whoop, spelled that wrong. You know what I mean. To be delicious. And then this, which is apple. So how do we say it is a delicious apple? You take the verb 맛있다, you add 는 to it because it ends in 있다 없다. You add 는 when it ends in 있다 없다, and then you place it before the noun. So 맛있는 사과 is delicious apple. And then you can conjugate it into the present tense with this 예요 form to say it is a delicious apple. It is a delicious apple. So let's try this next one. We have a new verb, 맛 없다. Does anyone know what 맛 없다 means in Korean? 맛 없다. It's kind of related to this one. It's technically the opposite of 맛있다. What is 맛 없다? Missed too deep. Yes, it means not delicious or gross. Tastes bad. Yuck. Anything like that. Now this also ends on 있다 없다. So to turn it into an adjective, we add 는 on the end. 맛 없는. Now we add our noun to describe. We're describing this copy as being 맛 없는, to be taste bad. Now the final step is to finish this sentence by adding 예요. Because copy ends on a vowel sound, we add 예요. So this is, it is a gross coffee or cup of coffee. The coffee is, it is a gross coffee. It's a disgusting coffee. It's a yuck coffee. Anything like that. Okay, now we have this next one. This next one's maybe a little tricky. We have this verb 힘들다. Does anyone know what 힘들다 means? 힘들다. Oh, Valeria, good job. Perfect. Michelle, yes, it means hard or difficult. Hard or difficult. Now it has this little symbol here, right? This should be a little clue that it is an irregular verb. We have to do an irregular conjugation here. Because when you add something starting with nien to a verb ending with lir, this lir is replaced by the nien. So this becomes 힘든. If you say 힘들은, it's not correct. You have to say 힘든 운동. The hard or the difficult exercise. Now, this noun here ends on a consonant sound, right? So we need to add 이에요. There are two forms of this verb, this conjugation. If it ends on a consonant, you add 이에요. If it ends on a vowel, you add 예요. So 힘든 운동이에요. It is a hard exercise or a hard workout. 힘든 운동이에요. Okay, next we have a D. Now this symbol here also, it's a little hint. This is an irregular verb. Which irregular verb? It's 맵다. Anyone know what 맵다 means? 맵다. Spicy, Michelle, perfect, yes. It means spicy. So how do we say it is spicy ramen? Well, because it's an irregular verb, this actually becomes 매운. If you need practice with the verb irregular, you can go back to the start of this book where we practice and learn the verb irregular conjugation. But 맵다 becomes 매운. Now we add our noun, 라면. It ends on a consonant sound, so we add 예요 at the end. 매운 라면이에요. It is spicy ramen. Next, 비싸다 and 자동차, or just 차. What does 비싸다 mean? Anyone here know? I'm sure someone knows what 비싸다 means in Korean. Neriberry, yes, perfect. It means expensive. Expensive. So how do we say it is an expensive car? Well, first we take our 형용사, 비싸다, our descriptive verb, and we turn it into an adjective. How do we do that? We add nien and 는 to it. This ends on a vowel sound, so the nien just goes underneath like that. Becomes 비싼. 비싼. Now this 차동 is optional. You can add it if you like, or you can just say 차. 비싼 자동차 예요. 자동차 ends on a vowel sound, so we add 예요. Okay, next we have this verb 느끼다, or sorry, 느끼하다. It means to be oily. So how do we say it is an oily pizza? Well, 느끼하다 ends on a vowel sound, so it becomes 느끼한. That is the adjective form, oily. 느끼한 피자예요. It is an oily pizza. All right. G, we have another verb irregular verb. So practice this one. Have a think how you would conjugate this descriptive verb 덥다. 덥다 means to be hot. to be hot. So how do you say hot 날씨? What is 날씨, by the way? Does anyone know what 날씨 means? Valeria, good job. Great conjugation. 날씨, Valeria, weather, yes. 날씨 is weather. So how do you say hot weather? Well, we take this descriptive verb, 덥다, and it becomes 더운. Again, if you need practice with these be up irregular verbs, make sure to go back and review the be up irregular chapter. 더운 날씨 예요. It is hot weather. All right, H. 춥다 and 날씨. You can probably guess what this means. This means to be cold. So how do you make it into an adjective? This becomes 추운. Again, another be up irregular verb. 추운 날씨 예요. It is cold weather. All right. And lucky last, we have 어렵다 and 숙제. What do these verbs mean? Or what do these words mean? 어렵다. What does 어렵다 mean? Hard, yes, za. Hard or difficult. You may be wondering what's the difference between 힘들다 and 어렵다. They are very similar words, right? They're almost the same. And they can be used in very similar situations. The main difference is that 힘들다 is more related to physical difficulty, something being hard physically, and 어렵다 is more tied to intellectual difficulty, something being hard intellectually. So that is the main difference. And yes, I can see you guys writing it in beautifully. This becomes 어려운. 어려운 숙제. What is 숙제? Does anyone know what 숙제 is? The picture here is a bit of a clue. If you've been in Korean class, you probably know. Yes, it means homework. Homework is 숙제. And this means 어려운 숙제예요. It is difficult homework. It is hard homework. Awesome, great work. Okay, so that is the conjugation rules. Remember, if it ends in 있다 없다, you add 는. If it ends in a vowel sound or liel, you put the nian underneath, right? And if it ends in a consonant sound, actually, I don't see any consonant ones in here. It becomes un. We'll see this probably more on other pages. Okay, so let's do some multiple choice just to make sure everyone is following along. A, the grammar form adjective, nian, un, noun is attached to 1. Descriptive verbs, 2. Action verbs, or 3. Nouns. So what is this grammar form attached to? Where does it go? Where do you use it? You use it with descriptive verbs, action verbs, or with nouns. Yes, 1. I mean, nouns are also involved, right? They're in this form, but it's attached to, this little tilde shows where it attaches to the descriptive verb. So descriptive verbs. B. Descriptive verbs can be turned into adjectives by attaching un, nian, un, noun to the verb stem. Is that true or false? Is that a correct expression, correct statement? That you can turn descriptive verbs into adjectives by adding this to the verb stem. Yes, that's true. That's exactly what you do to change these descriptive verbs into adjectives. C. When the verb stem ends in a vowel sound, you attach nian to the verb stem, un to the verb stem, or nin to the verb stem. So we've got a vowel sound here. So what do? Yes, desire, beautiful. You add nian. D. When the verb stem ends in a consonant sound and doesn't end in 있다 없다, you attach nian, un, or nin. So now we have a consonant sound and it's not 있다 or 없다. This is something like 작다, for example, to be small. Valeria, yes. Number 2, you add un. So this becomes 작은, the small something. E. If the verb stem is 있다, 없다, you attach 는, 은, or 니은, 은, or 는. So now we have a verb ending in 있다, 없다. That's like 재미 있다, for example. Number 3, Layla. Yes, exactly. You attach 는. So that becomes 재미 있는 noun. Okay, and lucky last, if an equivalent expression to 날씨가 더워요, the weather is hot, is, so what is an equivalent expression? 1. 날씨가 추워요. 2. 날씨가 덥지 않아요. 3. 더운 날씨예요. Or 4. 덥은 날씨예요. What is the correct conjugation or correct equivalent expression to 날씨가 더워요? So you can see some of these look, these two look a little similar. There's one key difference between them. Layla, yes. The correct answer here is 3. This one means something completely different, right? This means the weather is cold. Well, this means it's cold. This means it's not hot. So those are not equivalent expressions, right? We want an equivalent expression to the weather is hot. This one is the correct conjugation of the 덥다 verb. Remember, this is a verb irregular, and it always becomes 더운. 더운 is not correct. That does not make sense. So the correct answer is 3. Question, what is the topic today? The topic today, we are learning about making adjectives in Korean. That is what we are practicing today. Taking descriptive verbs like to be yuck, to be tasty, to be spicy, and using them to describe nouns. Okay, now we have a challenge question. This is a challenge question, so get your thinking hats on. 1. In the sentence, 사람들은 피자하고 콜라를 좋아해요. What grammatical function does the 은 in 사람들은 provide? Okay, so we have this in here. What is it? Is it 1, the topic particle, or is it 2, the grammar form, 는, in, 는 noun? Is this live going to go on YouTube today? It'll go on YouTube tomorrow. But yes, it will be on YouTube. So you can always come back if you don't have time, watch it at your pace later. But what is this? Is it the topic particle, or is it this 는, in, 는 noun form? And how do you know? How do you know what it is, right? Let's have a think. Desiree, yes. Your lovely sunshine, yes. It is the topic particle, right? How do you know what it is? Well, you have to see what it's attached to, and you have to be able to recognize, is this a noun or a verb? Now, you should probably recognize this word, right? 사람들 means people. And that is a noun, right? It's not a descriptive verb, it's a noun. So this in here is the topic particle. What about this one? 주말에 많은 사람들이 영화관에 가요. What is the in this time? Is it the topic particle, or is it the grammar form 는, in, 는 noun? Yes, good job. It is the grammar form in the noun, right? How do we know? You have to look at what it's attached to, right? This, you have to be able to figure out that this comes from the verb 많다, which means to be many. To have many of something is this verb 많다. 만 by itself, you have to be able to figure out that's not a noun. 만 is not a noun. This is what it comes from. It's a verb, right? So in order to know that this is exactly the same, right? It's the same syllable, it's pronounced exactly the same. You have to know what it is by seeing what it's attached to and knowing what this part is, where it comes from. So just a heads up, you can see many of these in a sentence. It's not always the topic particle. It might be this adjective form. Okay. 3. Now let's make some more sentences. we're going to combine our grammar form that we are learning, this in the noun form, with 이가 아니에요. In German, it's probably the easiest to catch nouns because it has to be written with a capital. Oh, that's very interesting. That does make things easy. That's something that a lot of English speakers struggle with Korean, because there are no capital letters. So even when it comes to recognizing place names or people's names, there's no way to know. You have to just figure out knowing the vocabulary. There's no hint whether it's a name of something. So in German, that makes it even easier. Maybe I should learn German. Okay. So write sentences using 는 or 니은, 는 noun that also use 이가 아니에요. What does this mean, 이가 아니에요? That this is the is not grammar form. So say something is not something else. So here we have, it is not a delicious apple. It's not a delicious apple. So the key part here is this thing. Delicious apple. So let's start with this. To be delicious is 맛있다. And now to turn this into an adjective, it ends in it or op. This 있다 없다, so it becomes 는. 맛있는 apple is, we know, 사과. So this is 맛있는 사과, a delicious apple. How do we say it's not a delicious apple? This is where our 이가 아니에요 comes in. That would be funny. We would switch the roles of teacher and student. Yes, you would be my German teacher and I would be your German student. 맛있는 사과. Now this is where we add our 이가 아니에요. Now because 사과 ends on a vowel sound, we attach 가. 사과가 아니에요. 맛있는 사과가 아니에요. It is not a delicious apple. It's not a delicious apple. Now, you don't need to add anything before this. You can, if you like. You could say 이것은, this thing is not a delicious apple, but it's optional. You don't have to add that. You can also just say 맛있는 사과가 아니에요. It's not a delicious apple. This it part is kind of a hidden subject. You don't need it in Korean. B, it is not spicy ramen. It is not spicy ramen. So now we need our verb to be spicy, which remember is an irregular verb. 토기로는 너무 어려워요. It's very difficult. Yes, every language, I think, has things that are difficult about it. 안녕하세요. No language is easy. Because people aren't easy, right? If language is easy, it would mean that people are easy, and that's not the case. All right, it is not spicy ramen. So we're going to start with this part, spicy ramen. Now we had this actually on the previous page. So, spicy is 매운. That is the conjugation of the verb 맵다. 매운 라면. Now this now ends on a consonant sound. So we add 이, 아니에요. Thank you for the rose. I appreciate you. 매운 라면이 아니에요. It is not spicy ramen. Okay. Next we have C. It is not an expensive restaurant. It is not an expensive restaurant. How do we say expensive in Korean? How do we say expensive? What does this become in Korean? BTS, beautiful. 비싼. 비싼. Because it ends on a vowel sound, we just add a nian underneath, right? And it becomes 비싼 식당. 식당 is Korean is restaurant in Korean. You might also say 레스토랑. 레스토랑 is more of a Western style restaurant. 식당 is more of a Korean style restaurant. So it kind of depends where you're going. But 비싼 식당. This ends on a consonant, so it's E. 아니에요. 비싼 식당이 아니에요. It is not an expensive restaurant. Now, how would you say, bonus question, how would you say the restaurant is not expensive? Right? It's the same thing. It's just switched around. Because there's two ways you can say this, right? You can say 비싼 식당이 아니에요. You can also say 식당이 안 비싸요. It's the same expression, right? Just switched. You can have this descriptive verb at the beginning, describing the noun, or you can have it at the end, being the main verb of the sentence. 식당이 안 비싸요, 비싸지 않아요. Means the same thing. D, it won't be good coffee. It won't be good coffee. This, as you can see here, is the future tense. It will not, right? So be careful of that. We're going to use the future tense. So how do we do this? Let's start with this part. Good coffee. Good coffee. What is this verb good? That is the verb 좋다. 좋다 ends on a consonant sound. So it becomes 좋은. 좋은 커피. 좋은 커피. This ends on a vowel sound, so we add 가 for this 이가 아니에요 part. Now, how does 아니에요 become in the future tense? What happens here? Layla, yeah, good job with that 좋은. 좋은 커피가. This maybe is a little tricky. It becomes 아닐 거예요. 아닐 거예요. 아니다 is the opposite of the verb 이다. This means to not be, this means to be. So really what we're doing is we're conjugating this 아니다 verb into the future tense, which becomes 아닐 거예요. 아닐 거예요. Yeah, Valeria, good job. And E, lucky last, it was not a difficult test. This is the past tense this time. So now we've got to conjugate this 아니다 form into the past tense. What does 노래 너무 좋은? Well, I think you mean the other 너무. That means the song is really good. The song is really nice. 노래 is song. That means the song is really good. The song is really nice. 노래 is song. 너무 노래 is song. 너무 lost my screen there for a second. It is the noun form of the verb 춥다. So goodness, greatness. The song is greatness, kind of. Anyway, what's the difference between 처음 and 처은? So that's an interesting question. 처음, this is a noun. And this is an adjective. So 처음 is greatness, goodness. 처은 is good or nice. You're welcome. E. It was not a difficult test. So let's start with this difficult test part. Difficult is 어려운. 어려운 is difficult. And then test. Does anyone know what the word for test is in Korean? Valeria, yeah, I see you put it in there. It's 시험. 시험 means test. So 어려운 시험이, right? It ends on a consonant sound. Now 아니다 in the past tense becomes 아니었어요. 아니었어요. 어려운 시험이 아니었어요. It was not a difficult test. Okay, great job everybody. Now let's go to this next part. We're going to combine 있는 noun with 가다 오다. 가다 오다. I wonder if that's actually too similar. Let me do blue maybe? 가다 오다. And by the way, 가다 오다 means to go to or from a place. Or I guess to go to or come to a place, kind of. I'm going to a cute cafe. I'm going to a cute cafe. So the descriptive verb, the adjective we have here is cute cafe. I'm going to a cute cafe. So the descriptive verb, the adjective we have here is cute. Now, cute cafe, there's a couple, there is a verb to mean to be cute, like 귀엽다. But in this situation, the most natural way to say is this verb here, 예쁘다. 예쁘다 to mean a cute cafe. You could say 귀여운 카페, but 귀엽다 is more used for living things like animals, people, etc. So a cute cafe in Korean is more naturally 예쁘다. Now 예쁘다 becomes 예쁜, right? It ends on a vowel sound, so 예쁜 카페. Cafe is cafe. Now I'm going, right? This is where our 가요 form comes in. You could also say 가고 있어요. We haven't learnt the 고 있어요 form yet, but you can also say 가고 있어요. That is the present progressive tense. But this 가요 form can also mean the present progressive. You can use 가요 to mean I am going. In the last sentence, can we use 시험은 instead of 시험이? You cannot. It should be 이 because it's part of this 아니에요 form. It goes together with this. This is the subject particle, you're right, but it's not really switchable with 있는 because these two go together. I mean, you could possibly see it, but most naturally, 이 아니었어요. Yep, you're welcome. 예쁜 카페에 가요. I'm going to a cute cafe. B, I'm going to a famous singer's concert. Now, we've got singer's concert provided. We've got 가수 콘서트. 가수 콘서트 is the singer's concert. How do we say a famous singer's concert? We also have this verb 유명하다. 유명하다 means to be famous. So 유명한, right? Because it ends on a vowel sound. 유명한. Now we put our noun. 가수 콘서트에 가요. Or 가고 있어요. Both are good. I'm just using 가요 to keep it simple. 콘서트에 가요. To, don't forget this 에 is this particle meaning to this place. So it shows the direction that you're going. 유명한 가수 콘서트에 가요. What book is this from? This is the verb, the level 2 workbook. Sorry, why 한? So this 한 is the conjugation of the verb 유명하다 with this 있는 noun grammar form. So because it ends on a vowel sound, it becomes 유명한. It's tied together with this verb. It's a 하다 verb. Hopefully that answers your question. C, I'm going to a tasty restaurant. I'm going to a tasty restaurant. Now, tasty here, think 맛있다. 맛있다, right? We know that word. Now this one ends on 있다. So we need 는 here. 맛있는 restaurant is 식당. 에 가요. This 에 가요 again just shows to this place. Which place? The 식당, the restaurant. And what is the 식당? It is 맛있는. It is delicious. It is tasty. It is good. Yes, your lovely sunshine. Beautiful. D. An important package came to my house. Okay, so now we have some more things going on, but we have all the tools to make this sentence. We can definitely do it. The first thing we're going to start with is this thing, the important package. Important has been provided. It is 중요하다. 중요하다 becomes 중요한 because it ends on a vowel sound. 중요한. And then package, we're going to use this 택배. There's a couple different ways you could say package, including even the English word package, but we're going to use 택배, which means delivery or package. 중요한 택배. Now we need some particle here, right? Think about which particle we need here. But I'm going to finish the sentence and we'll come back. 중요한 택배 particle to my house. House is 집, and then to came to is 에 와요. Notice these are the ones that are all going. Now we have coming, right? So this is 와요. 에 와요. Question. I'm confused about the delicious apple in exercise 3. Should it not be 맛있은? So you think so, right? Because the basic rule is if it ends in a consonant, you add in. If it ends on a vowel, you add 는. But anything adding in 있다 or 없다, like 맛있다, always you add 는. It's kind of a special situation, special case. Verbs that end in 있다, 없다 always add 는 afterwards. Yes. Now, which particle do we need here? This is kind of a tricky one. So let's think about what's happening. So remember, the subject particle shows who or what is doing something. The object particle shows something being done to some actions, to some object. So in this case, the package, right? The package is the one that came to my house. The package is the thing that came to my house. So it's actually the subject particle here. Because the 택배, it was delivered by someone, right? But that would be a different sentence. In this sentence, this package is the subject. It is the thing that came to the house. 중요한 택배가 집에 와요. Oh, and it's actually past tense, I forgot. So this should be 왔어요. My bad. 왔어요. Okay. E. Nadia will go to an important event. Key thing here, important event. We have the same verb, right? So we can just copy this down. 중요한 means important. It comes from the verb 중요하다, which is a 하다 verb that ends on a vowel sound. And then event has been provided, 행사. 행사 means event. Oh, I forgot our subject. We're talking about Nadia. So 나디아는 중요한 or 나디아가. You could use 는 or 가. You could also use 는 here. You could say 택배는 집에 왔어요. It's also possible. 나디아는 중요한 행사에, right, to the important event. Will go, future tense, so 갈 거예요. Valeria, good job. 나디아가 or 나디아는 중요한 행사에 갈 거예요. Nadia will go to an important event. And F, lucky last, I went to a beautiful wedding. How do you say this? I went, so this is past tense, to a beautiful wedding. We've been provided with this verb beautiful, which is 아름답다. And note that is an irregular verb, so be careful of this irregular. How does this become an adjective? You need to do the verb irregular conjugation to make 아름다운. 아름다운 means beautiful. Comes from the verb 아름답다. 아름다운 결혼식. 결혼식 is wedding. 결혼식. And then to the wedding is 갔어요, because we're talking about the past tense went, which is 갔어요. Okay. All right. Good job, everybody. Okay. All right. Good job, everybody. So we looked at these adjectives and combining them with some other grammar forms. First, we looked at 이가 아니에요, to say something is not something. And then we looked at 가다 오다, talk about going places. Excuse me. You could also say 왔어요. That's just, I came to a beautiful wedding. Okay. That is the end of this chapter. There is a free writing exercise below on the next page. This is just a chance for you to take the things you've learned, take all the skills you have, and apply them and make your own sentences. Question. It's so helpful seeing these in action. I get so in my head when I see it on paper and I freeze up. Yes, 100%. Sometimes the hardest part is just even knowing where to start, and seeing someone work through it can help you kind of get your feet, right, to kind of figure out where to even start. So I'm glad that it's helpful. Thank you. But yeah, if you do get the book, make sure you give this a try. Try writing your own sentences describing this picture, all the different foods on this picture. We provide some verbs like 맵다, 맛있다, 신선하다, etc. And if you want to get your writing checked, I recommend showing it to a Korean-speaking friend or teacher, or posting it on HelloTalk. HelloTalk is a great resource to get native speakers to check your Korean. Also in the back, we do give some example answers of things you could say, but there are no right and wrong answers to this section. So it's just a space for you to have fun and practice. As a final recap, we practiced in the noun, which is the way to turn descriptive verbs or 형용사 into adjectives to describe nouns. It's a really useful tool you can add to your Korean toolbox and apply it in all sorts of situations. You'll see it used all the time, so it's good to be able to recognize it and use it. All right, next week we will be doing 고 있다, which is the present progressive tense. We're going to be learning how to conjugate and use this grammar form next week if you want to come back and see that. But that brings us to the end of today's lesson. Hope you guys had a wonderful day and a good time with this class. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. This is the level 2 workbook. Question, is it always the same day of the week? Yes, I always do level 1 on Mondays and level 2 on Tuesdays. And always at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, 5 p.m. Eastern time. I know depending on your time zone, it might be tricky to make it. But I also do post these live streams on YouTube, so you can always go back or check something later if you want to look at those on YouTube. 네, 감사합니다. So yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. 다음에 봐요. 감사합니다. Bye. Sorry, where do I live? I live in the US. Eastern time zone, 5 p.m.